and you can actually see it rippling. So I'm going to go down as far as the ripple is going and just pull and clean the slip off at the same time. So this is now my little finger. Okay, now I'm going to squeeze it a little bit more. Starting at the top, I'm just adding a little moisture. You could do this with a brush. Ka-chunk. And you're just kind of sneaking up on it.
Do the wheels ever need to be serviced? Have anybody come to do anything to them?
There are things, mechanical things obviously, that can go wrong, that it may need a new part or some oiling or whatever, but I've had mine for a while without any service. And then as they start to get a little ratty on the top, you want to take your needle tool
about Matt Long, like saying that he likes the rattiness and he accentuates it. And
I hadn't heard that part.
But probably thought for the crystalline glaze, you like a real.
Well, actually, you know, because crystals are more natural. If you like the natural look, I think it wouldn't be out of place.
But he would like sort of accentuate an asymmetry, so it was like a big oval, like slant rather than a.
I've heard it sort of described as kind of like a mountain range, that the top, they want the top of teacups to have kind of a... Okay, so...
That was because that was the first time I'd ever heard anyone like...
Say that's a desirable thing.
Yeah, because that's always been my...
No, it's fabulous that you'd be able to get it that little, considering you had your foot
arm to get rid of it.
Yeah, you know, I was like, oh, you could like it.
So now it's a process of thinning and collaring and thinning and collaring. And if you want, you can even stick a tool inside. And once it starts doing that, it's okay to come back in like tomorrow and do some fine-tuning or dry it with a hair dryer or something just to get some control over what's going on. So, a lot of dancing going on here, but that's okay because it stops when the wheel stops. I'm going to give this a lot more shape tomorrow before I cut it off, because I left a lot of clay down here, so I'll continue to trim that shape.
How will you do that?
While it's still on the wheel, I'll just take my trimming tool and trim it right side up instead of upside down.
You'll go down like this to trim it coming down, rather than up, or you'll work your way up?
I'll take this tool and I'll really undercut it, and then I'll kind of blend that in.
Okay.
Okay, so still needs some. What was that doctor's saying, that just a little bit more or something, or a little bit better?
Better is the enemy of good.
Just a little bit more. I know there's some thickness there.
When you could have stopped and it would have been fine.
I know.
Keep going and
you could have stopped any number of places.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna kind of leave it where it is until I would either hit it with my hairdryer so that I could come in and clean this up. But I want a nice smooth contour.
It'll still be good by morning to play with it.
Right. So the really tall narrow, thin, delicate necks, what I've done to get those is I'll have it like this wide, and I'll throw it really thin, and then I'll start to collar it without having to pull it anymore because it's already super thin, and then you can get them really tall and skinny.
And how do you do that? Do that again?
Instead of, right now I'm working so hard at getting it narrow.
Right.
But if you pull one that is about this width, all the way from here up, and as thin as you can get it,
I see.
as you start to collar it, you don't have to pull it anymore.
So much
you can
more,
work
right.
more on
Pushing
just the
clay
shape.
into it.
And as you're working on the outside, with just a gentle touch for collaring, you can really push that.
He doesn't want to be pushed.
Do it tomorrow.
All right, so we'll
I think you should quit while
we'll work on this tomorrow. But I'll trim a lot off the bottom,
beautiful.
and I'll see there's a little indentation there. I'll probably trim it all the way up to that point. But I guess, see, this is really basically a cylinder that I've collared. So don't think that you need this big bulbous shape to make a bottle. I think the cylinders turned into bottles look pretty nice.
I don't think